I am a teacher at a kindergarten and love my job. I've always loved kids and took pride in my work moulding the minds of our next generation and having fun at the same time. I could never have kids, but always had a connection to any child I met and would share my wisdom with them as much as I could. I work in a big city in the United States, although I won't say which, and despite a few rare occurrences of angry or love-crazed lovers, the town is relatively crime-free. But 2 days ago I was woken from my morning stew before I had my much-needed coffee by a news report of a boy who I teach that has gone missing. Shocked is not the word. I burst into tears and dropped my cup of coffee, smashing it to pieces. It's my favourite multicoloured cup that the kids made me for my birthday earlier that year. I couldn't believe it. Who? Why? I immediately called the parents of the boy, as I had all the parents' numbers on record, just in case of an emergency. It rang for a very long time, and then the repetitive ringing in bursts of 3 was silenced with a "Yeah," in a deep, rusty voice. "Hello, is this Peter's parents?" "What do you want?" "I am his teacher, Miss Ark, and I am so sorry. I've just heard about Peter, and if there's anything I can do, please don't hesitate." The man said nothing, but breathed heavily for a few seconds, then he spoke. "You sick bitch. How dare you call me? If I ever see you, I will hang you from the nearest lamppost." I was taken back by this, but just wished him my condolences again and hung up as I could hear him still yelling insults down the phone. I can't imagine what he and his wife must be going through right now, so I knew he was just saying this out of grief, and didn't mean it. Some people handle things different ways, I guess. I got into my car and began the 1-hour-long journey to the school on the other side of town. Music usually accompanies me on this journey, but today was met with just silence. I couldn't stop thinking about that father and his wife and family. Why would someone do this? Apparently, he was picked up yesterday from school by a person claiming to be related to him. When questioned by the staff, the woman that picked him up said that she was his aunt, and that his parents got caught up at work and she was in a rush so had to leave. For some reason this satisfied the staff member and he just let the boy go. When I arrived at school, there were sad faces all around. The only people who looked happy was the children, but that soon changed when I had to be the one to tell them that their classmate and friend was missing. Some of them cried, some asked questions, but most just sat there in silence, just stunned with nothing to say. I hated that look on their little innocent faces and wished whoever did it pure hell. Another week has passed and still no sign of Peter, but today a video went viral of Peter, and it shows his fear that I will never forget. The police were trying to trace the origin of the video, but I couldn't help thinking of how someone could do this to a little boy. The video shows him crying and calling out for his parents, as well as things of a sexual nature to which he clearly didn't understand. The kidnapper was a woman who wore a mask. She was average height, really in shape, long blonde hair almost to her butt, which was matted into one big braid like Rapunzel, and one very distinct tattoo on her upper back of a hare. This was all so scary, and the news paused on the video at the point where the tattoo was clearly visible and was calling out to the public in hopes that someone will recognise her from the tattoo and be able to identify her. I know it's horrible, but in that moment I couldn't help thinking what a nice tattoo it was. I know it's sick to think that, but I couldn't control it, like when a widow bursts into uncontrollable laughter at her own husband's funeral. It looked nice and was very well done. The video was of a good quality, so the details could clearly be made out. I've never had a tattoo and never planned on getting one, but this one looked beautiful. But I was snapped from my daydream by the news anchor's words. The woman in the video is yet to be identified, but has been dubbed the Hare by the press, and is believed to be working alone, but no other details are yet to come to light. One thing's for sure, people like this need to be stopped. 2 days later, I found myself sitting alone in my living room in the dark, just thinking about Peter and all the horrors he must be facing right now. I decided I needed a drink. So I went to a club I know from my college days that was only 20-minute cab ride from my house. When I arrived, I waited quietly in line for 10 minutes, didn't speak to anyone, and then sat alone with drink after drink. I can't remember the name of the drink, only that it was very, very strong. Throughout the 2.5 hours I was there, I got the usual of guys hitting on me, buying me drinks and trying to lure me home with them, which I'm sure home was just a college dorm room. I got sick of the club, so left and was walking down the street when I decided to try another club I was walking past that I'd never been in before. The club was very quaint, booths and small tables were through the whole place and it had great music, filling the place with energy. After I had so many drinks, I couldn't really see straight. I found myself talking to some woman at the bar. I remember her name was Helen and she was from Australia. She was really cool and I must have blacked out at one point because I was talking to her at the bar and then found myself dancing with her and then find myself in a booth with her. I don't normally become this friendly with a woman in this short amount of time, but it was really easy to talk to her. Something about her was just easy. We danced a few more times and had one more round of drinks and then said our goodnights. I woke up the next morning on my hallway floor with vomit in my hair and a headache that felt like my head was splitting in half at the slightest sound. I didn't have work today, thank God, and decided to spend the day in bed recovering from this immense hangover. I don't usually drink. This was actually the first time in 4 years that I had. A few days later, and I've got back into my normal routine of work, home, shower, eat, and then repeat. The kids seemed to be forgetting that their friend Peter was gone and I started to see them smile and laugh again, and after a few more days, it was like he never existed to them. At the end of the day, when all the parents come, I saw who I suspected to be Peter's parents, picking up their daughter who also goes to the same preschool. I approached them and introduced myself and offered my condolences just as I did on the phone. The father gave me a piercing glance and walked off holding his daughter's hand, where the mother stayed behind. With tears in her eyes, she thanked me and started to sniffle. I know they will catch the person responsible, and Peter will be fine. She was a wreck. Hardly could talk and looked like she hasn't eaten or slept in days. I wrote my number on a piece of paper and gave it to her. If you ever just want to talk, here's my number, okay? She took the piece of paper and glanced at it before thanking me and making her exit, following her husband. I felt so sorry for them and left the playground for the staff bathroom so I could cry. And boy did I cry. Streams and streams of tears soaked my tissues and face. I pulled myself together and left for home without talking to anybody else. When I got home I didn't even shower. I just got changed into a dress that I bought for special occasions and left to go back to that club I went to a few days prior. When I got there I was almost instantly let in, and was surprised by just how many people were in there and just how big the club was. Granted, I was very drunk last time I was here, but this place was huge and had strange ornaments and paintings on the walls. I can't really explain it. A very strong, overwhelming smell of a dozen different perfumes, which must have been from over 60 women, all in one room at the same time. It burnt my nose and made me wince. I quickly deduced that there was very few men in here, and those who were here I now know to be gay men. It soon hit me that this was a lesbian bar. It didn't bother me, but I've never been into that sort of thing at all, but I don't judge people who do. So I didn't leave, I ordered a drink and sat alone just like I did before. This night I was getting hit on by women and getting drinks bought for me, which was a strange feeling. I kinda liked it. Coming towards the end of my evening, I was walking out of the club and was attempting to call a cab with my arm over my head, when it was softly pulled back down by someone. I turned to see a beautiful woman standing next to me with a nice smile on her face. Bright blue eyes transfixed me as I stared at her. "Hey there, you can't be going home already, it's only 10:25. Why don't you come to a little cocktail bar I know just over there across the road?" I didn't say anything, I was just struck at how beautiful she was. Now I'm not a bragger, but I've always been a good looking woman, and I even did a little fashion modelling in college, So I did get a lot of attention, but this woman was much more beautiful than me. Very dark ebony hair like chocolate, those eyes like bottomless pools. Her smile was pleasant and inviting, and she had a killer body. She was also very short. I'm quite short myself, but she dwarfed compared to me. I agreed, not wanting anything negative, not even the word no, to be associated with this woman. We got to this little cocktail bar, and I had to admit I was a little bit happy to see it was a straight cocktail bar, with guys and girls everywhere in various stages of one-night stands. We found a little table and began chatting. I found her name was Bethany, and she was a fitness instructor and had a little pug dog called Molly. A gorgeous little thing it was. She showed me pictures. So what do you do, Lucy? I'm a kindergarten teacher. She just laughed, obviously not believing me. No, really, I am. The school on 5th. Her laugh changed into what she called her "aw" face. That's so cool. You must love kids to do that job. I'm not sure I could do that. She said that whilst taking a sip through her aluminum straw hanging from her glass. It has its ups and its downs, yeah. It's not always easy, but I do love kids and love what I do. She carried on drinking and didn't answer me. I didn't find it odd, as I was getting drunk by this time myself. Let me ask you something, Lucy. Have you ever thought about being with a woman? This question felt like getting hit with a bat in the back of the head. So unexpected, and then it hit me again that I was outside the lesbian bar when I met her. A wave of heat ran through my body as she stared at me with a small smile, eagerly awaiting my answer. No, not really. What, never? Well, there was a time in college, but that's it. Ooh, tell me more. Her face lit up as the topic clearly excited her. No, I'd prefer not to. Oh, come on, please. No, really, I haven't thought like this in a long time. I stopped myself mid-sentence as I felt her hand touch my knee. She had a playful face and smiled while giggling. Let's go to a hotel. Sorry, I'm not gay, but I'm really flattered. Her hand left my knee. Okay. No, that's fine. I just thought I'd offer. Let's get another drink. What happened next, I've never experienced before, even in my crazy college party days. I suddenly went really drowsy and started remembering only fragments of what was happening. I remember dancing, I remember being in a cab together, I remember then opening a door and walking through a hallway. I then found myself sitting on a sofa with Bethany sitting on top of me, kissing my neck and face. I was dropping in and out of consciousness, but was soon fully conscious and in full panic mode when she leant forward to kiss my neck again, showing a happy, droopy-eared tattoo of a hare on her shoulder. Both their attention was drawn to a vent on the wall between them that starts to ooze a thick yellow gas that creeped down the walls and across the floor. Beth screamed as it touched her, as if it was made of her worst fears. A few seconds later it started to crawl up John's leg, and I could tell it didn't hurt him.